Well, we're just about ready to wrap up the show here into Turn 4. It's salvaged by Kaziski Auto Parts. Looking for quality used parts to get your car or truck back on the road? Give an experienced salesperson a call today at Kaziski Auto Parts. Give them a call at 402-731-4592. You can also stop by at 50th and I Street. Get yourself some cheaper than over-the-counter or going to a dealership prices. You're going to save yourself a lot of money by going and picking up the simple stuff, maybe a shock, maybe a wheel, a rim,
just about any part you need for a car.
Do you happen to have the switch for my four-wheel drive? It broke off this weekend.
I could probably look for one.
I priced it on Ford.com, and just to make sure Bud doesn't pass out, I'm not going to say that price over the air. So if you can track me one down, I would love you long time. Almost longer than Bud loves Jesse Sabe.
55 RINs can't be wrong.
Oh, man. We're talking today in Turn 4 about track management. A unique perspective you've got, Andrew, because your family owns I-80 Speedway. You've got to work with that kind of stuff. Your family manages the track there. Buddy and I were talking a couple of weeks ago while we were at a dirt track about how some tracks just simply get it wrong, and it's horrible to drive on, and some tracks do it really right. Can you explain the difference and how subtle it can be between doing it right and doing it wrong?
Well, technically, everybody just thinks, well, you just water the track, and everybody goes out there and races. Technically, that's almost halfway right, but the thing that really kills tracks the most is you'll start Monday, Tuesday, you're going to dig the track up from the week before. You're going to get all that top hard stuff. If it was muddy, you're going to get that all packed down. It's going to get basically turned over. Then you're going to let the track settle. You're going to put a couple rounds of water on it, call it a day. Go out there the next day, look, maybe, oh man, it got really hard too quick. Let's dig it up one more time. You're going to get it so that you get that dirt and that mud mixed so good together, and then you're just going to keep pounding water on it. Now, let's say it's really nice during the week, not too much breeze or nothing. Race day shows up. Oh, man, there's cloud cover the whole day, wind picking up. Somebody that doesn't put enough water on, I mean, if they put too much water on and it's cloud cover, it's just going to be a sloppy mess. Well, some guys, and I don't want to throw any tracks up because I give credit to these people. This is harder than taking an ACT test, doing something like this. Some guys will do the same routine every week. Race day comes around. It could be 100 degrees. You know what? They just won't pour as much water on. You got to pour maybe 2 times the load that you pulled on the week before. All of a sudden, the next day, it's really, really cold. You can't put as much water on because it's going to be a sloppy mess. It's just going to be a really fast racetrack. A couple weeks ago, we noticed. We raced during the day at McCool Junction, and it was just really hot. Nothing they could do about that. It was really dusty, really hard, slick. Nothing they could do besides they had to pound water, pound water, pound water. By the second day, they finally figured it out. And then there's the next week where they go, man, I better pound water. I don't want to get this track slick and dusty again. The crowd doesn't like it. My drivers don't like it. Oh, shoot, it's 60 degrees out. Now it's overly way too muddy, and this is a routine you'll see a lot of times at racetracks, which is really, really hard. Bud, going to I-80, going to Eagle, sometimes they can't get that slowly mixed until halfway through the season, just like a driver can setting up a race car.
Oh, you're absolutely right, and I love the fact that you pointed out that this is not an exact science. You're right, it's harder than an ACT test, and I bombed my ACT test, but with that being said, I see so many people at the dirt tracks that think they are wizards at doing this, and I don't know how many promoters I've talked to said if somebody knew how to get it right every week, they would pay them. They will pay them good. And then what's really, kind of unfortunate on the track preps part is, you got a day where it's 100 degrees by noon, and then you got a front move through, and all of a sudden it's cloudy and 70, and you're just watering the heck out of the track because it was 100 and hot and sunny at noon, and then come 4 o'clock, that front moves through. Now you got a sloppy track, but then I've also seen it where it's cold, chilly, windy, rainy in the morning. The track's looking good as a driver. A lot of drivers like the tacky, hammer down tracks, and then all of a sudden, you done set your car up for the tacky stuff, and then all of a sudden, here comes the sun, 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's 95 degrees, 30-mile-an-hour wind out of the south, and all of a sudden, you got a sheet of ice to drive on. It's really unfortunate what some of these guys have to go through. I think is probably the most thankless job, on behalf of each track. These guys work their butts off to give us a surface to race on, but I've seen guys and fans complain. Nobody wants to be on a dirty, dusty track where you can't see nothing. Dirt's dirt. So I kind of feel sorry for them in a way.
Just kind of.
Just kind of.
And this is something we actually have a guy that actually is out there every single day, and he probably spends over 60 hours a week just prepping the racetrack for one night. I mean, it's not like asphalt. They don't have to go out there and prep it unless the track completely breaks up. They got to pour concrete. But this is one guy works 40 to 80 hours a week trying to make this track absolutely perfect. He's got it going good 2 hours before the race. Oh, shoot, what just happened? It dumped water on the track. Oh, my gosh, look at how the wind picked up and the sunshine. And every single driver's out there. And you got the people in the crowd sitting there, they'll come down. If they'd have just dumped water on it, this would have been a way better race. It's not as easy as it looks. To make it right, they'd have to go back out there, dig that thing up, water it, pack it down, possibly dig it up again to make that track 100% correct. It is a very, very tough job.
How do you get the track packed down when you do that kind of stuff? Do you send somebody out there to drive around on it? Or
tractors, race cars, they try to get any volunteers and trucks. I mean, people can come out to the races any time. They want to be a track packer. I think they actually give you maybe even one free pit pass to come out there, drive your car, drive your Jeep, drive your truck around to help us get the track packs that the drivers don't have to do it. But then again, we want it to be a good race every single week.
Yeah.
The one thing I do got to mention, and I don't race I-80 weekly. In 2013, we'll be at I-80 weekly, but the one thing I have to give I-80, and I've seen this with a lot of tracks, but especially with I-80, is every week it seems like they put on a hell of a track surface. It's, you're going to have your off nights where it's ruddy, it's rough. Once again, it's dirt. You're going to have your nights where it's smooth and it's so dusty you can't see. It's dirt. Dirt's dirt. But the way you work it, speaks volumes of the professionalism behind the racetrack. And I-80 seems to just have one of the best truck prep crews around in the Midwest. I mean, they're exemplary.
Well, that leads me into my next question. Of all the tracks you guys run, and you do run over a season and over your guys' careers, you've ran quite a few tracks. Is there a track that you consistently see has their stuff together and really takes care of the track besides I-80?
Me personally, running IMCA, I-80, I think, is right up there, just as good, if not maybe a tick better than Boone Speedway. Boone Speedway for the Super Nationals, I mean, that's just a whole new show up there. I mean, they got 8 tractors, 4 water trucks, 4-wheelers, all kinds of stuff going on up there at Boone. But for around here, I-80 is pretty good. Now, me personally, I don't like a smooth track, ironically. I like a ruddy, rough, bumpy track. Drivers like Andrew hate it. I like it because the track is so inconsistent. You get a lot of newbies out there. Well, now Bud can run competitive.
I was going to say, I think if we had 10 drivers in here right now, Bud would be the only one to say he likes it rough and ruddy, and he's a diamond in the rough, I guess you could say.
Well, we'll call
like a topaz. More like a topaz.
I bet you my ultimate best track I've been to, I mean, besides Eldora Speedway, Tony Stewart's got the best of the best, and you never see Eldora having a terrible track, but every track I've ever been to, Wheatland, down in the Lucas Oil Speedway down there, Wheatland, Missouri, consistently has the best track. It dries out at about hot lap time to where it's a complete good 2-wide racetrack, and it never, ever seems to rubber up. Now, this week, I sat there and I told my brother-in-law, buddy's favorite, Bill Layton, he went down the race, and I was sitting there just praising how nice this track is. Again, it rained that morning, and it was the worst track they've had in probably 3 years down there, how ruddy and rough it was. But again, that's not their problem. They have probably the best track every single time I go there. The rain came in, and that's all they had.
Now, as a driver, do you like dry slick or heavy hammer down? Let's go fast.
What takes a driver? Slick or somebody that can just hold the gas down and go?
Well, what I'm getting at is, some drivers say I like dry slick. Some drivers say they like tacky. Me personally, I like to see a little bit of, just a normal track. I don't like a real dry slick, but I don't like a real heavy track either. I like something where you can go, a couple, 2-3 spots on the track. You can go up high where, when they water the track, the water will tend to roll downhill, so that the high side will get slick, but then the bottom's tacky. And I think that actually promotes, showcasing different driving styles and setups, and that's the kind of track I like, what I consider a normal track.
Which is 100% correct. I mean, that's how it's got to be, because everybody's going to drive that cushion in the heat. Everybody's going to be fast starting up front. That's why them guys who starts up front, man, I love a heavy racetrack. But then at the end of the night, there's a little bit of water on the bottom where the guys that are good drivers can get their left side tires and then really run strong. And then that top side, it's like, oh, man, it was too slick up there for me. Then there's the guys that can drive really well, can go up there and make it work too. So I like a slicker, slower racetrack. I don't like to go fast, bud.
This is Turn 4, salvaged by Koziski Auto Parts. Looking for quality used parts? Get your car or truck back on the road by giving the experienced sales guys at Koziski Auto Parts a call today and let them find the right part for you to get you back in running condition. Call Andrew or any one of the salespeople today at 402-731-4592. You can also stop by their shop and their giant 900 acres?
No, not about. We have about 900 cars.
900 cars. That's a little bit different. It's you said it's about an acre?
About 2.5 acres.
Okay, full of cars that you can salvage from at 50th and I-3. Stop by today and get your car back on the road. As we start to wrap up the show, we've got a race that's going to be happening in just a couple of hours. They're going to throw the green flag at Kansas for the STP 400, and a couple of race notes and nuggets from Kansas Speedway. June last year was when they had their first race at Kansas. Brad Keselowski took that checkered flag.
Who?
Cool.
Hopefully
cool.
he can. Hopefully he can rebound from his Texas woes and get himself another win. The October win, and my pick for today's win, Jimmy Johnson at 48. They absolutely dominated last year in October.
I'm thinking Tony Stewart or Dale Earnhardt, but between those two, Tony Stewart. I think he's pretty upset after the showing that he just had, so Tony Stewart's going to be the man to beat on this.
No, you can't
He changed
change.
his vote
You
again.
can't
You see that?
change.
I'm taking Tony Stewart.
You can't. You already picked Earnhardt. You can't change.
You can keep him. He'll run good.
You have to stick to
Okay.
it. You're sticking with Earnhardt, and Andrew, you actually took Gordon.
I took Gordon because I feel, honestly, it's about his time to win, and it's going to happen today. He won, I think it was either the first or second race there.
Both of them, actually.
He won both of them?
Yeah.
I was there both times, and I remember seeing it. And I wasn't a big Gordon fan then. I still really ain't a big Gordon fan now, but I really, as the older he gets, the more mature he gets, and I like that.
Andrew, have you noticed that when they've interviewed Gordon, he's starting to kind of get that chiseled persona about him? He's not the baby face, young Hollywood-looking, guy that everybody liked to love. It's like now you see the veteran, the thick skin. I mean, he's going to do what he needs to do, get up there, and he looks like he's actually running harder, and he's got a more aggressive personality this year.
He was definitely the driver to hate during the 90s and the turn of the millennium, but I can tell you the turning point for that. I know the exact moment that NASCAR fans started to like him. Texas Motor Speedway 2 years ago, turn 3. He throws fists at, was it Jeff Burton?
Kevin Harvick, I thought. No,
it was one of the Burtons. I think it was Jeff Burton. Because it was the Cat 31.
Okay.
They got tangled up. Gordon had a great car, and he walks all the way from his car, which is done, all the way over to Jeff Burton's car, and you could just see it. I mean, it was probably about a 5-minute walk, and you could just see he was mad. Helmet was off. He was ready to go. Jeff didn't even get any chance to say anything, and Jeff Burton didn't get a chance to say anything, and Jeff Gordon just started swinging. And that was the second that NASCAR fans went, maybe he's not that pansy we always made fun of him for. Maybe he's not the Rainbow Warrior we gave him that nickname for. Maybe this guy does have a little bit of fire in him.
It just seems in 2012 to me, Jeff Gordon has just come across as obviously he's a veteran, but he's a very thick-skulled. He's got a steely attitude about him. He's going to do what it takes to get it done. And, that's not a bad choice, Andrew, taking Gordon.
Well, I wouldn't call him a chisel face, bud, but he's doing. I really feel he's going to be pretty strong today.
Well, we really do appreciate you joining us this morning. In just a couple hours, they're going to throw the checkered flag or the green flag at Kansas, and we're going to find out exactly who's right. Which my guess so far this season, none of us have been right for the winners. In fact, we've been pretty far off. I don't even think when we've picked the guy, they finished in the top 5. So.
I'm picking the NASCAR driver to win today.
Hopefully, I think we're all going for Hendrick, so maybe he'll turn his luck around and get himself that win, that 200th win. As we talked about, we want to say thank you so much to Craig Dolinski for joining us. I said it wrong. Delansky for joining us today. I really appreciate him joining us this morning. Head over to Eagle Raceway and pick up your tickets as the World of Outlaws is going to be invading on Friday night. Discount tickets are available at participating Napa stores. That does it for us this morning on the front stretch. Thanks again for joining us. If you ever want to get a hold of Bud, Andrew, or myself, just shoot us an email, frontstretch590@gmail.com. You can also become a fan of the show on Facebook. We're going to be back next week as we're going to talk what happened at Kansas, and we're also going to talk about what happened at Richmond because Richmond's Saturday night. So we're going to do this whole live thing next Sunday again and see how bad we can really screw it up. Join us next Sunday morning at 8 a.m. as we do this live thing again, and we show you exactly how not to do radio. This is The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.